Russia also said that if Russia finds out, if Moscow, if investigators find out that, well, these routes, these safe passages of the grain deal were used to smuggle...
I'm going to try to keep this short because I do want to put the transcript, include the transcript. If you're using this, you're going to have to make a lot of corrections. All right, the pronunciation. Yeah, not that it's all wrong, but enough of it's wrong that you're going to have to double check everything. I'm using Yandex because I think the pronunciation is a lot better than Google. The only thing with Yandex is they don't Romanize the letters. I don't know if I showed this in any of my previous videos. This is a chart I made, the Russian alphabet. I think I was at an airport, a layover. So I killed some time and I put together a chart. I think that's where I did it. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. You may not need to use a chart or to double check yourself that much if you decide to use Yandex, but yeah, I'm just like that. So I don't know if you want to go that extra step, but yeah, he didn't make it easy. All right. I'm not going to go out of my way and say this was done intentionally, because if you look at foreign language material, a good portion of it needs better proofreading, and this is one of them. But the concept is still valid. You know, trying to form sentences with a core vocabulary. So I still like the concept. And after I've made my corrections, yeah. The sentences, I've used them a couple of times to indicate that he had a legitimate reason for defining a particular word the way he did, even though Yandex gives you a different thing. But then you type in the entire sentence, and Yandex also uses the same word the author used. So, yeah. But more times than not, I end up just having to sound out the word the way it's pronounced by Yandex to come up with something close enough for it to give me a selection, and then for me to choose from the selection an option that matches what this guy, I'm assuming, had intended. So there's a lot. Yeah, it's turned into a heck of a chore. Yeah. Oh well. It's still, I guess it still beats writing out your own flashcards, and then just from your day-to-day activities, eliminating most of them until you've got a core set kind of thing. So, which basically is the same concept as this, but yeah. So I'm still working with that concept. As far as not liking the sentences, yeah, the sentences are ridiculous. But in all fairness, if you've seen any of my other videos about language learning, you'll know that I favor in-flight, Living Language in-flight series. Yeah. Even using that booklet, most of the sentences they offer, phrases they offer, I would never use. But if I'm trying to build vocabulary, it's good material. But even with that, I went back to some of my recordings because the booklets, I think I left it in storage. One book I did take with me though, The Essential Spanish Phrase Book for Teachers. Yeah, I'm only going to get into that if I get a teaching job. So I'm not going to worry about that now. But in flight, it's still a viable language learning material. But even with that, I have to make changes. Last night, when I was going over everything, alright, in flight, saying hello, that's the first lesson. Basic expressions. I think the third lesson is numbers, but I skipped that. Lesson 4, I guess, is at the airport. And then you've got, is that lesson 5 or 6? I guess I should have put the lessons right next to it. There's another one that says getting around. Another lesson called asking directions. Another one called at the hotel. This one. I made a lot of changes on this thing. Because they give you things like, do you have another room? And then they give you other phrases like with a private bathroom, with a data port. I don't even know what a data port is. I'm assuming it's a USB port kind of thing, but whatever. You can see how dated this thing is. I changed that one to what's the Wi-Fi password? I have never been in anything with a data port or UBS port. Anything. Let's see, the same lesson has, is there an exercise room? I changed that one to, do you have laundry service? Another one is there a pool? I changed that to, is there a supermarket nearby? Another question was, where is the conference room? I changed that one to, where's the closest metro station? Still another one, where is the fax machine? So you know this sucker's old. I changed that one to, do you serve breakfast? And still another, where is the concierge? I changed that to, when do the stores open? In short, I want to make sure that even if these phrases are questions that I would never ask myself, I want to make sure that if someone else asks them, they'll be able to follow. Okay? So I may not ask these questions myself. I'll just go and find out for myself. But if someone else asks, I'd like to be able to understand that exchange. So, yeah. Edit whatever phrases you find useful to make them even more useful. Alright? Especially something this old. So since I'm using Yandex, yeah, I might as well edit everything, right? So that's example of the in-flight phrases, and go ahead and change them, do whatever you have to make it meaningful to you. It's pointless to build up a vocabulary of things that are outdated or that you have absolutely no interest in, or you would never find yourself, or very unlikely to find yourself in a situation where that would be useful. So, yeah, in flight is still viable language material, but be selective and feel free to edit it in as many ways as would be helpful to you. Language, extremely subjective, so keep that in mind. Focus. So much for a short video. I also did the 15 tips on practicing English when you're alone video thing that I referred to in a previous video. Yeah, like with most people that earn a living by teaching a language, I mean, everybody has to make a living, that's fine. But I mean, I'm not going to say it's disgraceful, but for personal use, I just can't get into advanced studies, all right? My objectives are very modest. Okay, I just want to be functional. I'm not even going for fluency. So most of what that guy talks about is of absolutely no value to me. He gets so picky about the exercises for pronunciation. I never want to be mistaken. Well, I shouldn't say it. I have no interest in being mistaken for a native speaker. Okay? I just want a native speaker to be able to understand what I'm trying to say without too much effort. Okay, so if I have to speak to a native speaker before they've had their morning coffee, I want them to understand what I'm trying to say. That's it. Okay, I'm not trying to be fluent. I'm not trying to sound like a native speaker. So a lot of the tips he gives is so irrelevant and so unnecessary to me. Though I do absolutely agree that you should pay attention to pronunciation when you are learning the word. Don't learn it the wrong way and then have to spend all that time and effort relearning it. I can't think of anything that would demotivate anyone more than that. I mean, that must be terrible. Don't blow yourself out of the water. Okay? Yeah. Get the pronunciation as close as you can, but when you're learning the word. All right, not after you're already conversational and everything like that, and because my gosh, yeah, that is the wrong time to start worrying about it. So when you're actually learning the word, learn it, get as close to the correct pronunciation as possible when you're learning it. So it's done. Because that's more than doubling your work. Because you really got to like break it all down all over again. And oh my gosh, I can't think of anything that would just be more heartbreaking as far as, because you got to try to keep motivated. This is a like prolonged thing. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. So it's terrible. So I'll give it that much. Pronunciation is important, yes, but when you're first learning it. So, yeah. You know, there are a couple of things that the mirror thing with the talk about, you know, what you're going to do when you're at the mirror, like when you're brushing your teeth, I'll spend a couple of minutes talking to yourself what you plan to do that day. And in the evening, when you're washing your face or whatever, a couple of minutes talking to yourself, saying what you did that day. So you do a little bit of that future, past tense thing. That's beautiful. That's fine. That's not where I'm at the moment, but right now I'm just working the vocabulary. But I mean, things like that, fine. That's fine. Wonderful. But I mean, it's like all the other stuff. I do like being able to describe a scene. That's good. But I mean, you could do that, you know, from your own. You don't have to be out and about to do that, right? And if you want to change the scene a bit, you can take a scene from a movie. Okay? And just, you know, I don't know, pause it, take a screenshot, and then use that as your picture to describe a scene, you know, or whatever. Get like your own collection of screenshots of your favorite favorite scenes from your favorite movies, and do that. That's fun. But yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of work going on there. But again, if you're teaching for a living and you want to keep your students engaged, I understand why you would have all these variations and activities and whatnot. But if you're trying to learn, if you're trying to get to a point where you're just functional in the shortest amount of time possible, no, because you're trying to get rid of all the extras, non-essential stuff. Because you can spend the rest of your life trying to master a language. Which, if you're a teacher making a living off of this stuff, would be a good thing for you. But not such a good thing for the students. So, alright, this video is already a lot longer than I wanted it to be. So I'm probably not going to even end up putting a transcript out there. But, alright. I don't know. Eventually I may break it up into segments, but probably not. Because this is turning out to be more for myself than anything else. Because it's, yeah. That's how it's working itself out, right? So, okay. That's where I'm at the moment. I've actually gone through all the words. Actually, I haven't. I still hadn't written out the my own notations for the very last list, except for that first word. I don't know what I was doing with that. I think I was looking at the sentences and trying to work that out. But I was on the very last list before I realized, no way, I've got to go back and double check everything because there were just way too many. I had gone to the digital, I don't know, what's that called? The online game, language game thing, the digital thing, dialect, whatever. And went to the phrases. I had done this previously. Right? And just the sound of it, they used some of the same phrases I found in this thing, but it was completely different. So I said, you know what? No. Just too many inconsistencies all over the place, and I went back and started double checking everything. Yeah. So, all right. So that's where I'm at. Almost completely. I was on the last list, and when I realized I got to double check all this. So, yeah. That's where I stand, making all the corrections. I'm not going to bother with his sentences, because at this point I'm only using them to verify that some of them are valid as far as some of the examples he uses. Because when I type out the sentences in the index also uses that same term that the author used. So, and that's the only use I'm finding of these sentences, because they're ridiculous. I would never say anything like that, and I would never care to even hear this information listening to others around me. So I'm really going to waste my time? No. So just to double check to make sure the words are adequate, the options he chose. Otherwise, in flight, after I've reduced it to things that are applicable to my life, and even edited to make it even more applicable to my life. So, yeah, it's this whole learning thing is completely subjective. It really depends on how you travel, or what you do, or how you're using it, and all that kind of stuff. Because, yeah. This book, Yandex, maybe a couple of the suggestions from that guy, the teacher, the 15 tips. And as far as the teaching phrases are concerned, only after I've gotten a position, a job teaching, because I'm really trying to cut it down to the essentials. All right, look at this thing. It's already almost 24 minutes. Okay, I'm not going to be writing a transcript for this one, but I needed to get this information out. Again, for no one else than myself. All right, I'm not going to bother with the date because, well, what the heck. It's June 11th, 2023, Sunday. Somewhere in Brooklyn, 9:28 a.m. Why not? As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and yeah, I'll probably talk to you later. Take care.